Good afternoon. Welcome to Mana TV Telangana on the occasion of Gurukul concepts. So, today you are going to understand the concept of continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Maybe it is a familiar as CCE. There is a myth in the society that a CCE is one of the teaching strategy or approach or teaching method, but it is completely about the evaluation process. So, today we are going to discuss about why the CCE is introduced, what are the reasons, what are the impacts of the CCE in the present educational scenario. Okay. So, in this examination, so they may ask define or write the full form of CCE. So, we have to write it as continuous and comprehensive evaluation. Okay. So, here the concept of evaluation is in a triangular process, that is objectives, learning experience and evaluation. So, here you have to evaluate the children with a specific objective. Now, the present system you are doing the examination, of course, the word is not correct, you call it as assessment. So, it is assessment. Okay. So, here the concept of evaluation is in a triangular process, interrelated as a triangular process, the objectives, learning experience and evaluation. So, we have to evaluate the children with a specific objectives. In mathematics, we evaluate the children with academic standards. You know that academic standards are 5 for the mathematics content. One is problem solving, second one is reasoning and proof, third one is mathematical communication, fourth one is connections and fifth one is representation and visualization. By using these academic standards, we will discuss or evaluate the children, and we will observe the learning experiences, whether the children learn by activity based or through projects or by hands-on experience or by observing means field experience. Like we will observe the children how he develops the concept, how he will get the conceptual clarity through his learning experiences. And finally, we will come to the evaluation. Here very important 3 words: examination, assessment and evaluation. So, examination is in narrow sense, evaluation is in wider sense. In CCE, we will evaluate the children in 2 areas. One is called formative assessment, other one is called summative assessment. So, we will discuss all these things in a stepwise. Okay. What is the present status of assessment? It is very important. The mismatch between the curricular goals and assessment content. So, you know that, so the children who are getting 10 out of 10 presently with the grade points, or who got 100 out of 100 in mathematics subject, he may not do some of the problems based on the conceptual clarity. You know that very clear. The reason is there is a mismatch between the curriculum goals and the assessment content. Am I correct? So, this is a very important. And the second one is domination of paper pencil test and no focus on oral and performance test. Previous system always they will conduct unit test, slip test, sudden test and quarterly examination, half yearly examination and final examination. So, the children is always running with the examinations, which is called of course as a paper pencil test. So, the children are focused to write the examination only. So, we are testing the children only writing skills. There is no test, there is no focus on oral and performance test. So, this is one of the important factor why the CCE system is going to be introduced now. Okay. Now, come to the next. The test results do not impact on teaching because the next stage of syllabus will be tested on the next examination. So we are not testing the prerequisites of the concept. We are not testing how the children learn beyond the concept which is given in the textbook. Purely we are giving the textbook questions, means the children just by using knowledge, by using rote learning method, he by heart the total concept, he reproduce the same in the examination. So the children are well aware about the question and answers. The children may not have the conceptual clarity. So this kind of examination will not give any proper assessment. And next, individual children learning needs downgraded in the push to cover the syllabus before next assessment. So generally the teacher is going to be hurry and worry with to complete the syllabi. So he will not satisfy all kinds of children in the classroom. So some children are very good, they have very good IQ power and they have good application knowledge and logical thinking, but these questions will not satisfy their needs. So the learning needs will be downgraded. So just if the children by heart few of the questions, if you got full marks, he feels that he is good at that particular area. I will give a small example. In the chapter of progressions, previous years, means before 2015, we gave nearly 500 problems in the textbook. So this is the most important, which is a part of quantitative aptitude. But in the examination, if you see last 15 years examination paper, so maximum there are 6 questions. All of you may know it because you are also studied the same textbook. That is 7 times of the 7th term equal to 11 times of the 11th term. Then show that 18th term is 0. This is the first question. If the question is not given in the examination between m and n, there are 3 geometric means, then prove that mn equal to g1 g2 equal to g3 square. Otherwise prove that if a, g, h are arithmetic mean, geometric mean, harmonic mean, then g square equal to a h. Otherwise simply a is greater than equal to g is greater than equal to h. If the question is not given, so 7, 77, 777 and so on, find the sum of n terms. When the children by heart all these 4 questions, he will get 100% marks in the progression chapter. So it is not the correct way. Am I correct or not? So some children are downgraded. So downgraded learning needs are downgraded in the push to cover the syllabus before the next assessment. This is one of the most important reason. Okay. So next one is memory oriented response without much focus on original thinking and expression. The children who have good memory power, you will get the maximum marks. The total examination based on memory based questions. If the children recollect those questions in the examination, he can write the answer. There is no possibility for logical thinking, there is no possibility for analytical thinking. So because the questions are collected from the textbook, he practiced more number of times in the examination. So he will mechanically he will reproduce the same in the examination. So that system is not correct. And education seen as transmission of information and learning reproduced from the textbooks. So just now what I discussed is simply if the children by heart the question and answers from the textbook, so it's more than enough. So no need to learn the prerequisites, no need to learn advanced concepts, and no need to learn the mathematical communication, no need to learn how the concept is related to the other branches of mathematics. So simply the children by heart and reproduce. This is one of the major reason for introducing CCE. Okay, now come to that. The curriculum aim is at developing a holistic personality, but the practice reflects transaction of few subjects, that is languages and non-languages, and no focus on creative areas like arts, crafts, value education, health education, physical education and life skills. So purely the previous system only aiming to develop the what you call narrow thinking or personality. The reason is always he will by heart it like a grinding machine, he grinds the concepts and simply reproduce it. And there is no scope for the children to learn arts, to learn crafts, to learn value education, to understand the health education and to practice the physical education, and there is no scope for the life skills. So present system we include these all these things as co-curricular areas, and that will be evaluated. Okay, the next one, the assessment do not focus during learning but after learning completion of the unit or term, and helps in the categorizing the students as based the performance. So it's actually totally wrong thing. So, it is proved by the so many research and surveys, because by evaluating the children by through the marks in the as unit test or term test, of course, we call it as a quarterly or yearly. So, he is intelligent, he is average, he is below average. Through paper pencil test, it is not the correct way how the children, because we have to evaluate the children in all aspects, like whether he is good in drawing skills, whether he is good in analytical skills, whether he is good in representation and visualization skills. So, you have to check, you have to evaluate the children in a holistic manner. That is the most important. Okay. And the teacher seldom takes assessment results as feedback to their teaching and change teaching learning process and focus on neglected aspects of learning. Most of you have an experience. In the previous textbook, there is a chapter in the 9th class standard that is motion geometry, translatory geometry. So, that questions are not given in the examination. So, maximum teachers are not explained, but it is very important chapter with respect to advanced mathematics. And most of the children does not know that we gave one Brahmagupta theorem in the chapter of areas of triangles, but no one knows. The reason is some areas are neglected. So, because that questions will not be given in the examination. So, teachers also changes their teaching strategies, they will select few of that, and for example, there are two papers, paper 1 and paper 2, and the paper 1 covers 7 chapters and paper 2 covers 7 chapters. Again, they will select out of 7 chapters which are important chapters in point of examination, they will explain those chapters only. They are neglecting the remaining chapters. So, the children are not aware about all the chapters. So, it will not give the conceptual clarity to the children. That is the reason. So, CCE is going to be introduced and more focus on teaching what is going to be assessed. Therefore, use of guides and guide type material are introduced. Now, see so many guides and guide material are in the market. So, simply maximum children, they are not carrying their textbooks. They will carry the only all-in-ones, text or guides or guided material. So, simply that is like a ready-made food. So, the children does not know. So, what is the importance of that? So, they does not know the textbook philosophy also, means even teacher also not understanding. That is the main problem for getting a conceptual clarity. And educational changes is limited by the power of assessment practices. So, now a bad practices happens. So, always the children always spend 12 hours or 13 hours by hearting the concepts, and these corporate sector are simply announcing. So, this time our children got 536, 564, 578 like our children got. So, again it is a very unhealthy competition happens among the children. So, they are running with the marks only. So, whether the children have good mathematical concepts or whether the developed life skills, all these things are neglected. Okay, now CCE, maybe you understand that what is the necessity of CCE introduced in the present system, am I correct? So, these are the different reasons. So, at least 1-2 questions will come in the examination, why the CCE is going to be introduced, what are the drawbacks in the previous system, how the CCE will overcome these drawbacks. That question will come from the previous discussion. Okay, now coming to the CCE and examination reforms. So, the following are proposed reforms as part of implementation of CCE. Making examination is more flexible and integrated into classroom teaching through formative assessment. This is a major step which is introduced in the CCE. You know that it is a continuous comprehensive evaluation. There is no pre-announcement that. So, tomorrow the children you are going to write examination on the chapter of polynomials and pair of linear equation, not like. Every day the teacher, when the teacher takes the class in the learning process, when he is explained a concept or sub-concept, he is going to be test whether the children understand that. It is a part of assessment. So, immediately the teacher can assess the children, how the children understand the concept, in what extent the children understand the concept, he can evaluate. It is in a formal way. So, that is the reason we call it as it is a formative assessment. So, throughout the year, that as per the flexibility of the teacher, he can conduct the examination, of course, you can conduct assessment, and so there is no particular pro forma. So you have, so for this assessment you have to follow 2 fill in the blanks, or 2 objective type, or 1 long answer type question, or 2 short answer type. This is, there is no restriction for the teacher. So you can conduct the test by through oral, or giving 1 or 2 questions, or giving a drawing. Just ask him to ask the children to of course represent this data in a graphical form, means draw the graph for it, or draw the Venn diagram for the given data, or like has is convenience according to the classroom standard, the teacher can conduct the assessment. This is a flexibility for the teacher. At the same time, the children will not feel the examination as a burden. This is the most important. Okay. And the next one, ensuring that learning is shifted away from more methods and memory oriented and focus on self expression. So previous examination is completely you know that it's a memory based examination. If the children can recall all those at the time of just 2.5 hours, he will get a maximum score. Unfortunately, he is unable to recall those things, he will fail in the examination. It's not the correct way. Am I correct or not? It's not the correct way. So you have to give the more focus on self expression. For that reason, in the formative assessment, the first assessment as a tool is in the subject is creating questions or generating questions. So means here we are giving the more focus on the self expression. At the same time, project is one of the tool to assess the children. So the children can investigate the things, and he will interpret the data, he will classify the data, finally he come to a conclusion. Means here we are giving more importance for the self expression of the children. So the informative skills, expression knowledge, conceptual clarity will improve. So this is the most important. And coming to the next one is grading in place of marks. See, so my children got 100, my children got 99, he missed just 1 mark, and like a bad unhealthy competition happens, awarding the marks for it. So for that we changed it as a grading. If the children got 91 to 100, then that will be considered as a 10 grade points. Means unfortunately he did a small mistake, you lose 1 mark. He got 99 marks, means so if you award it as a 99, so there is no meaning for it. If you award it as a 10, then the children feels it for a small mistake, so it will be considerable. So if the children got 91 to 100, between 91 to 100, so we will get it as a 10 points, 10 grade points. Clear? So that grading system is introduced. Now the question may comes in this area. So what is this present system to evaluate the children means here? It's a grading system. So I will discuss what grades will be given for the scoring of marks. Okay. So present system is grading system, not a marks system. So it's a very important note. You have to note this point. That's a very important. Now coming to the assessment of subject specific academic standards, competence rather than the information. You know that as per Bloom's taxonomy, so previously we test the children on a knowledge, understanding, application and skill, correct? So it is integrated, and finally the beautiful tool is introduced, assessment is introduced, that's called academic standards. The first one is problem solving. So here in the problem solving we give the importance for the process, how the children are doing the problem, how he is solving that. So we are giving importance for the procedure, not for the answer. That comes under the problem solving. And some questions based on reasoning. So if you want to explain, for example, so most of the concepts from the geometry and the mensuration are coordinate geometry, there is a big scope for reasoning. Each and every step should be supported with an axiom or a theorem or corollary. So there the reasoning will be takes place. In number system also reasoning will be takes place. So reasoning and proof is one of the academic standard. So when you call children are good at mathematics, when he has a good at mathematical language. So when he knows mathematical language perfectly, he can do any kind of problem that. So that's the reason. So how the children has the capability or competency in the mathematical communication, that will be considered as another academic standard. And one more, the children has to understand how mathematics is related or correlated with the other subjects or other chapters of the mathematics, maybe intra-relation or inner relation. That will be tested with one of the academic standard, call it as connections. Finally, if you want to test the children is the graphical representation, it will be considered representation visualization. In set theory, it will be considered as a Venn diagram. In polynomials, it comes as a graph. In statistics, it comes as a graph like cumulative curves, pie diagrams or bar diagrams, histograms, all this comes. In the geometry, it will be considered as a constructions. So these are the very important tools. So you have to understand its approach. And the next one is assessment is school based through teacher made test papers. Okay, so previously the examination, there is a DCB there, District Common Examination Board is there. They will prepare the question paper and they will supply to the children. All schools, they will conduct the examination. Here, so some schools the syllabus we already completed, and some schools in advance, and some school classroom standard is different. So it's a difficult. Sometimes it's a very difficult for the children. Sometimes it's a very easy for the. So like there is a big confusion, like a big mess. So now we will, in this present CCE system, we give the freedom to the children. A teacher, so the teacher can prepare the test paper by himself. So then the teacher can have the liberty to prepare the examination paper according to the classroom standard, how many chapters completed, how many sub-concepts completed. He has a freedom, then he can assess the children in a proper way. Okay, now the questions, which are analytical and open-ended, which discriminate children of various abilities. This is very, very important. The question should be analytical, open-ended, and discriminate the children of various abilities. This is most important. So if every question is based on knowledge base, it's not correct. We have to test the children of mapping skills. We have to test the children in drawing skills. We have to test the children in analytical skills. So we have to test the children in logical reasoning, and we have to give that as a open-ended. So for example, if I gave it as a pi is an irrational number, then how pi is an irrational number? It has to explain, or represent pi on number line. Of course, any irrational number on a number line. Okay, like we can give it every equilateral triangle is an isosceles triangle, but every isosceles triangle need not to be an equilateral triangle. How? So like we have to give an open-ended question, then the children will make a debate, understand it, finally give the answer. That debate gives the conceptual clarity. So in this present system, the questions are analytical, open-ended, and discriminate children of various abilities. Clear? Okay. And the teacher maintaining child-wise, subject-wise performance register. So already in the present system, there is a child-wise register there, is an individual register for that, and subject-wise register is there, and finally it has a class-wise report. So means we can understand the performance of the children in integrated way, how the children is, and how, because every children may not be good in all the subjects. Clear? In which subject he is good, in which subject he is poor, and which subject he need more help. So like the teacher can analyze it at the same time, and his performance also will be graded and recorded in that. And just only the children knows the grade but not marks. It's a very, very important. In the formative assessment record, the teacher has to post only grades, not marks. Very important question. So this is here, the teacher has to post only grades in the formative assessment. Clear? And the children doesn't know the marks of it. Even final examination, so also his performance will be announced in the form of grades. And then assessment tools are not only pen paper, but also oral, projects, observation, portfolios, classwork, activity, reports, etc. In mathematics, generally, so we will test through written test, oral test, projects, and observation, and some classroom activity also. Through all these, we will test the assessment, or we will assess the children in a holistic manner. So pen and paper is not only one test to assess the children. So, oral test, for example, he has to explain some concept, he has to distinguish between two concepts, or he has to give some information about a concept. For example, 1729 is a Ramanujan number. What is its importance? How the number has its importance? Like the question may be, there is no process. Here the children can say the answer in a oral form. Okay. And some projects, we can ask the children to perform the projects. Finally, what he understand means here the project may be a group activity or individual activity. So, like so there is a coordination, correlation, all will comes as some values for it. Clear? Okay. Now, evaluation made in a comprehensive mode, including co-curricular areas such as art education, games and sports, work experience, value education. This is the most important. So, what are the areas in the co-curricular areas? They may ask the question in it. That is, the first one is art and culture education, first one, and the second one is you know that value education, and the third one is health and physical education. So, like the question will comes in the examination, you have to clarify, you have to understand it properly. The evaluation made continuous and now become part of teaching through formative assessment. So, there is no fixed date, it is continuous, continuously the teacher has to assess the children, and the progress report compresses with the descriptive statement on children performance covering in all curricular areas. So, here the teacher has to write the comment on it. So, how the children in which areas the children is good, in which area the children need help. So, the progress report is not the paper or a sheet which gives only marks, it is our grade. So, there a comprehensive reflections will be there through the teacher. That is a very important. Then the parent and society can understand what are the attitude of the children, how is good in a particular area. Okay. Now, coming to the periodic sharing of children progress with SMCs and parents. So, a periodic meetings will be conducted by that with the parents and the school management committees. SMC means your school management committee. So, through school management committee, so the teacher and headmaster, of course, all people will gather there and will make a meeting, and they will discuss about the performance of the their children and what kind of steps or strategies are going to take to develop the their performance. So, this is generally it should be a periodical. Clear? Okay. And the assessment starts with the baseline assessment at the beginning of the academic year for all subjects and classes, based on which the teacher get target and plan for teaching. This is very important. So, the academic year starts with a baseline test. So, we have to conduct in baseline test in the month of June, because the academic year starts with June 12th. So, simply, so after 4 or 5 days we can conduct, especially in the month of June, we have to conduct the baseline test. This baseline test will covers the prerequisites, means in the previous class what the concepts he learned. Okay. So, we have to conduct a test according to the performance of the test. The teacher has to plan is year plan and unit plan. So, what kind of teaching strategies are required, what kind of teaching learning material is required, where he is going to focus, and in taking a classroom transaction, what kind of prerequisites he has to focus, all these things will be based on baseline test performance. Very important question will come in this year. The academic year assessment starts with which test? That is the question generally. So, we can answer it as a baseline test. Clear? What is the baseline test? The baseline test covers the prerequisites and previous classroom standards. Clear? So, this is a most important. Now, come to the next one. Now, what is CCE? This is the most important. CCE refers to a system of school based assessment that covers all aspects of student growth and development. The main aim is to find how far the curricular goals were achieved. Here in the CCE, it is a continuous evaluation process. We will observe the students' growth throughout the year, and we will test the children not only curricular areas, including co-curricular area also. Finally, you will get an integrated personality. That is the aim and objective of this CCE. Okay, then so we can pose the two questions. It emphasizes twofold objectives. These are the objectives of the CCE. One is continuity in assessment, A second one is behavioral outcomes. It's the most important. They may ask what are the 4 objectives of the CCE. 2. One is continuity in assessment, that is very important. He has to conduct the assessment throughout the year. So, only I will conduct the assessment in the month of June, then there is no assessment on July or August, not like. So, every day he has to assess, maybe by observation, maybe by oral test, maybe by pen and paper test, or maybe by activity, like by correcting the writing part of the children, means like already you know that there is a do this, try this, think and discuss. These are called constructive questions. Very important here. What is the constructive questions in the textbook means here? So, in the textbook, when you see the textbook, there is a notion of the chapter is there, then the concept is developed, then we give the do this, then try this, then think and discuss, some worked examples, then next exercise, and last what we have learned. This is the skeleton analysis of each chapter. So, here some part that is called do this, try this and think and discuss, we call it as constructive questions. So, in the constructive questions, the children has to performance, means it is nothing but assessment. Are the children to do the problems or do the concept in the try this. If the children is doing that by his own or by sharing the with their peer group, it is also one kind of assessment, correct. Like the teacher has to evaluate, assess the children continuity. This is the most important. And the next one, behavioral outcomes. So, when he discussed in a group activity, when he performs it, there is some coordination, correlation, integration, all will comes, and his behavioral outcomes also can evaluate. So, that is very important. So, these are the 2 folded objectives. So, we have to say what are the important objectives for the CCE means here. One is continuity in assessment, second one is behavioral outcomes. Okay. So, here and it covers 3 areas. 3 areas, those are continuous, comprehensive and evaluation, these 3. So, CCE comprises 3 areas, it covers 3 areas. One is continuous, second one is comprehensive and third one is evaluation. Okay. So, continuous means here assessment is regular and periodical. Evaluation of student growth and development is continuous process rather than an event. Built it into the total teaching learning process and spread over the entire span of academic session. This is called continuous. Means here it should not be announced as a pre-announcement. It should be regular and a periodical. So, in the month of June you will conduct one assessment. In the month of August you will conduct another assessment. In the month of December you will conduct third assessment. In the month of February you will conduct the 4th assessment. It should be formal. So, no prior intimation for it. Clear? That's call it as it's a periodical. It should be regular. Every day the teacher has to assess the children. So, your assessment is regular and periodical. Evaluation of students' growth and development is continuous process. Am I correct? So, this is absolutely correct. So, it's a growing child here. So, the conceptual clarity will grows and develops continuously. So, the teacher can feel that it is not like an event. Okay, so this month I will explain this concept. So, this things are over. So, no need to concentrate, not like. So, every time. So, for example, when he is going to explain the number system, maybe it impact or correlation or connection with the other one. When he is explaining geometry part, for example, Pythagoras theorem. So, this is very important. The Pythagoras theorem, based on Pythagoras theorem, maximum problems of the trigonometry will be solved. So, he has to linkage those things like. So, it should not be event, means here trigonometry chapter is over. So, my assessment is over, not like. So, when he is going to conduct a test on trigonometry, he has to test whether he is good in Pythagoras theorem or not, or geometry area or not. So, like it should not be event, it should be continuous. Okay. So, this is the most important. Now, coming to the next one is comprehensive. You know that comprehensive is a holistic approach, covers both scholastic and co-scholastic areas. It provides ample opportunity for the child to grow in all areas. Okay. So, through curricular areas, whether the children is good in languages and non-languages, so the teacher can assess, and co-curricular areas he can understand whether the children have good social values, ethical values or ethics, social ethics, all these things, and whether he has good at art and culture education, because the culture is very important. So, it is a minimum responsibility for the children to carry our culture to the next generation, means this is the most important, and the same time he has to respect his work. Work nature. So, work education is also very important, and he is living in a modern era. So, he has good skills in computer skills. So, that is the reason ICT is used, it is as a computer education. So, through now the classes are taken in a digital mode and virtual labs are used. Now, flipped classrooms also introduced in these areas. So, all these things means the children is going to be develop or grow in all areas. Hence, we call this system as a comprehensive. And the third one is evaluation. Evaluation is assessment of the child in all aspects. The emphasis shifted to testing of holistic learner. So, here there is a shift from by hearting nature, knowledge based question to, so here based on free reflection of the children. The children, for example, in Telugu, for example, if you take it as, so there instead of asking by heart the poem, so he has to, book review is there, means that the children has to read the total book, he has to write the comprehensively what is the concept there in it. So, like in mathematics also we have it. So, creating question, when the children create the question, he understand the concept. When he create the question, he can connect with the daily life situation also. Means here there is a shift from by hearting nature to exploring his knowledge. This is a shift. So, that is the reason. So, this evaluation plays a very important. So, here it covers 3 areas very important. One is that continuous, second one is comprehensive, and the third one is evaluation. Okay. Now, what is to be assessed? This is the most important. So, here the total feedback on child's learning includes, the first one is the child learning and performance in different subject domains. This is the most important. Means subject domain means here, so for mathematics, so in which areas the children has to be assessed, that is very important. And the second one is the child skills, interests, attitudes, motivation, etc. So, the teacher should not start the lesson directly with, yesterday you learn the chapter and today you are going to learn. This is not the way. So, he has to explain how the chapter is connected with the daily life situation, how is connected with the other subject, what is the importance of the chapter, like the teacher has to motivate the children and he has to develop an attitude that is by doing mathematics getting enjoyment. So, these are the things, and he has to develop the drawing skills, analytical skills, logical skills, like, and he has to develop the interest in the learning of mathematics. These are the things, how all these things should be assessed. That is the importance of this. Okay. And the changes that are happening in the learning process and behavior of the child and the development that have occurred in a stipulated period of time. So, previously, so there is a fixed areas, so in the particular 9th class area, so they has to learn, after that there is no testing of it. But present system, they will test the previous knowledge also, because so when they give a question, that question is not collected from the textbook, it is totally created question and based on the academic standards. That is a very important note to all, that the questions are not collected from the textbook which are given in the assessments. Okay. The teacher can prepare the questions based on academic standards and the concept which is given in the textbook, means it not beyond the standard of the textbook, it should be from the textbook only, textbook concept only, but that concept questions will not be taken directly from the textbook. So, for this change there is no importance for the guides that are material, in a well prepared material. So, the children has to write their notes, because, and if you understand the concept, so any kind of question he is able to do it. Okay. Now, come to the reaction of the child to the different contexts and opportunities in and of the school. So, when the children are good in the concept, you can extend his opportunities and he learn the context in a wider sense. Definitely that will help the children to develop the concepts. Okay. Now, you know that what are the curricular areas for the assessment. So, here the curricular areas for assessment is, first one is already I said languages, other one is non-languages. These are the curricular areas. Language means the first language, second language, third language. Of course, first language may be Telugu, Hindi, Urdu, that's maybe, and second language may be same. And third language is English, and non-language means mathematics, physical science, biological science, and social studies. And co-curricular areas comes under art and culture education, so which covers arts, crafts, music and dance. And next health and physical education, which covers yoga and meditation. And the next one is work experience and ICT. So this covers the work nature of the children and computer education that. And the last one is value education, means it covers ethics, values and life skills. These are the co-curricular areas which is going to be assessed. Okay. Now we know that in upper primary, just now I said the mother tongue will be considered as the first language, and the second language is the other one, and the third language will be English. Okay. So now what are the academic standards we are going to test for the children? In mathematics especially, you know that one is a problem solving, second one is reasoning with proof, third one is communication. Communication means mathematical communication. Next one is connections. Next one is representation and visualization. These are the 5 academic standards which are used in the mathematics. And in the examination paper, there are 2 importances. 2 areas are given important. One is the nature of the question. Second one is academic standard. There is no importance for the chapter and no importance for the weight of the chapter or anything. So here, so one chapter may be covered in the examination, or a chapter may be not covered in the examination. Here all chapters are covered, it is not a mandatory. It may be covered all the chapters, but it is not a mandatory. But we have to follow the instructions, that is all the questions based on these academic standards only. And the nature of questions. Nature of question means here we have 1 mark question, we call it as very short answer, and 2 mark questions, we call it as short answer questions, and 4 mark questions, we call it as a long answer type questions, and last one is objective type questions. Here in the objective type questions, we have to give only multiple choice questions. There are so many objective questions like open-ended questions, fill in the blanks, match the following, true or false, all this comes under the objective type, but in the examination we have to give only multiple choice questions. This is a very important. Here 4 kinds of questions, you know that. One is 1 mark question, called as very short answer. Second one is 2 mark question, that is called short answer. Third one is 4 mark question, called as a long answer type questions, and the last one is objective type question, which is purely multiple choice questions. And very clear for non-languages, of course in mathematics, the question number 1 to question number 7, question number 1 to question number 7 is 1 mark question, question number 8 to question number 13 is 2 mark question, question number 14 to question number 17 are 4 mark questions. And from question number 1 to question number 13, there is no internal choice, there is no choice for the children. Only from question number 14 to question number 17, which is long answer type question, there is an internal choice. Clear? So we have to follow these things in the assessment of the children. Okay, now come to the next one. So what are the other co-curricular areas? Means art and culture education. This is the most important. You have to understand what you have to evaluate it. First one is in art and culture education, the areas are coloring, drawing, decoration. And next one is making models and toys. A third one is origami and tanograms. And next, action, drama, role play, choreography. Maybe you feel that, so how it is related with the mathematics. So that children can perform the concept by role play, by using a skit. And here origami is a part of folded techniques. So by using folding techniques, we can explain so many concepts. We can prepare mathematical models, and we can prepare the toys. If you see the mensuration chapter, so toy is nothing but a combination of 3D figures. If you take a joker, for example, a joker toy, it's a combination of nothing but a cone and a sphere. Am I correct? Even you take a tablet, so it is nothing but a cylinder and 2 hemispheres. Like the children has to distinguish the toys or anything what he observed, and in a mathematical sense, and we may prepare for that. Okay, so we will discuss all these things later. Then now come to the types of assessment. This is the most important. The types of assessment are 2 types. Very important question. What are the types of assessment? There are 2. One is called a formative assessment, other one is called summative assessment. Once again I am repeating this. There are 2 types of assessment. One is called formative assessment, and second one is called summative assessment. Formative assessments are, we will in the academic year we will conduct 4 formative assessments. In an academic year we will conduct 2 summative assessments. So this is the most important. In an academic year we will conduct 4 formative assessments and 2 summative assessments. In general, the first summative assessment will be conducted in the month of end of the September or first week of the October, and summative assessment 2 will be conducted in the month of March, very clear. And the formative assessment may be June and July, the first formative assessment, and the second assessment may be August and September, and third assessment in the month of November and December, and the fourth formative assessment will be conducted in the month of March, February, end of the February or March. Clear? So the type of assessments are 2. One is formative assessment and other one is summative assessment, and formative assessments will be conducted in 4: formative 1, formative 2, formative 3 and formative 4. 4 formative assessments in an academic year for any class, and 2 summative assessment in an academic year. One is in the month of September or October, and other one will be conducted in the month of March. Clear? Okay. Now coming to the what is formative assessment. This is the most important. A formative assessment is an assessment conducted during the process of teaching. It is through observation of student responses, student engagement, student notebooks, assignments, other written works. So we will test the children, we will assess the children especially with the 4 areas in mathematics. The first one is called creating questions or generating questions. Through this, how the children communicate the information by mathematical language, that is the first one. And what extent the children has the mathematical conceptual clarity. To know all these things, this tool will help the children or help the teacher to know about the children whether he has a good conceptual clarity of it. Clear? Okay. And the second one already writing skills. So written works. Here the written works means very clear. The written works means the children have to write in a separate notebook, that is all these construct question answers, that is try these, think and discuss questions, answers, and next exercise answers. These will be evaluated, assessed as a written works in mathematics. Once I am repeating this is the most important. In the constructive questions, there are 3 kinds of constructive questions. One is do this, second one is try this, third one is think and discuss. And do this immediately after the explanation of the concept, the children has to do those questions, and the teacher will verify all these answers. If all the children did correct, then he has to follow the next concept. So do this is a primary thing, so we will not consider as a written work. But try this is a little bit of beyond the standard of that. It needs some support of the teacher or the peer group, and think and discuss, some questions may be beyond the standard of the concept. So for this to be awarded, hence try this and think and discuss question and answers will be considered for the written work. And assessment is exercise, and it is very clear the teacher has to explain the concept involved in the exercise question. You should not say the solutions on the board, it is very clear. Hence the children doing the exercise by his own, so that will also will be awarded. So these will be considered as a written works. Clear? And next one is projects. We will discuss what is the projects there. And then formative assessment will be conducted by the teacher during instruction. The teacher observes and record the children progress, and as well as the learning gaps. This is the most, it should be continuous. So there should not be a prior intimation to that. Always, today he explained one irrational number concept, for example, then he can give the question on irrational number. Root 2 is an irrational number or not? Justify your answer. Or represent root 2 on a number line. Or he has to write, so is it just the diagonal of a square is root 2 times of its side. So can you explain these things? Like you can give any kind of question based on the conceptual clarity immediately after the concept explanation. There is no fixed time So there is no pattern also. You can give it as a 1 mark question, a 2 marks question, a 4 marks question, whatever it would be. Are very clear, there is no meaning of 3 marks, 5 marks. Generally the students or teachers are practicing the present system 1 mark, 2 mark, 4 mark and half mark. So he has to go in the same pattern only, and he has to identify the learning gaps. So there may be some learning gap is there. So he has to identify and he has to fulfill that learning gap in through this formative assessment. That's the main important. So here the teachers should observe and record 2 things. One is the progress of the children, and the second one is learning gaps. This is a very important concept. So you have to identify these things. Okay, now come to the FA is an ongoing assessment throughout the unit. The purpose is to improve the instruction and provide feedback to the student. FA is a check for understanding. Formative assessment help us to distinguish between teaching and learning. So here the teacher is always a facilitator. He has to facilitate the learning environment to the children. So here the teaching should be very less, but learning process should be much more than the teaching. So the teacher has to reduce his teaching time, and he has to provide the learning opportunity to the children through learning process, means through activity, through perform, through reflections, through solve the problem. So to create the questions, like the teacher give some good opportunity to the children to comes of course, and the teacher has to develop the concept of distinguish between conceptual areas also. First the teacher understand what are the difference between a teaching and a learning. So whether it is a totally correlated, it's a single side or teaching, or whether children also participating in this is the most important. Okay, now coming to the some of main features of a formative assessment, I will say it is diagnostic and remedial and in the form of oral written performance. So he has to test. So he has to, is there any remedial teaching takes place at? Remedial things are taken are in it. It should be oral, and he has to observe the performance also. And the next makes a provision for effective feedback. So it should here the formative assessment should give a provision for effective feedback. Okay, and so it has to observe, enables teachers to adjust teaching to take account of the results of the assessment. Okay, so definitely the teacher has to observe that he has to take accountability for his teaching, means through that. So when he assesses the children in a particular grade, so he should take an accountability for it. For example, he said he is a grade children, so means when any other people will test him, will assess him, the grade should not be changed, because already the grade is given variation. If a children get from 91 to 100, will be considered 10 grade points, means it means that always you will get 100 points there, 100 marks there. If you get 95 also will be considered. So this kind of margin is given, so the teacher should take this as accountability. Recognize the need for students to be able to assess themselves and understand how to improve. The children also can recognize those things, where he did the mistake, how to rectify. All these things will comes under the formative. These are the main features of the formative assessment. So CCE is a very important chapter. In my knowledge, nearly 4 to 5 questions will come in this examination. So I am going to extend this class tomorrow also, because it's a very good concept and very important. Present system is CCE. So as a teacher, you have to understand it. As for examination also, it's a very important area. Maybe all of you noted the important points of this. I will continue this tomorrow class also. In the tomorrow class, of course, we will discuss the summative assessment and tools, what are the tools here, how to prepare the progress report, and from the progress report how we are going to evaluate. All these things will cover in these areas. So maybe you understand that the formative assessment and summative assessment, difference between these two, we were clearly saying it's a formative assessment only, means it should be a formal, it should be given a scope for diagnostic and remedial teaching, and more importance will be given for the the oral, clear, and it should be enables the teacher to adjust the teaching according to the classroom environment. It has to adapt good strategies, good approaches, and finally. So maybe I understand I understand that all of you understand these areas. So these are the main features of the formative assessment, clear. So once again say that CCE is a continuous comprehensive evaluation, is exclusively for evaluation process. It is not at the part of learning or teaching process. So I am using the CCE methods, I am using for teaching practices. It's not clear. It's not that. It is only purely evaluation. So anyway, you may understand the CCE some extent. I will continue it. Finally, this will give the clarity to the present system. I hope you understand it. Thank you. Thank you for listening.